do you draw transparency? Well, let's find out. I looked around my studio and found this little jar of some sticks and twigs and stuff to draw with, so the jar might be a perfect place to start. On Patreon, I got the request to explain how to draw transparency. Well, I don't exactly know how to do it either. What I do know is that it's a matter of observing. Let's look at what we see and then see how we can translate it onto paper. Stick around because I have a fun assignment for you too. I'm using a Faber-Castell PITT oil-based pencil, extra soft. It's darker than a regular graphite pencil and I love the smooth, soft feeling of it on the page. First, I'm outlining the subject. Whenever a question pops up in your mind, like how could I draw this? Try leaning into that moment, into the curiosity. Curiosity is key to learning and to creative growth. It's exactly what I'm doing here. I don't know the answer to the question, but I'm curious to find out by doing. I see a little distortion of that bamboo stick in the jar through the glass, and I may have overdone it a bit, but whatever. I keep going, drawing the shapes that I see in the jar. I'm trying to keep it loose and not go into detail too much. It's really not about accuracy, but about trying to convey that transparency. I think my choice of using a soft pencil and making use of the lighter and the harder pressure on it, thinner and thicker line, was a good choice. Glass often has reflections and wobbly shapes. Instead of drawing a perfect outline or whatever, just look for the big shapes of light and shadow on the surface. I'm looking at the dark bits, the shadows and the highlights in the glass. I also add darks to the whole subject. There's one big white highlight on the jar. It's the reflection of the light. So I want to keep that part white, just leaving the white of the paper do its job. If you leave some tiny white shapes untouched, those bright spots instantly say glass. So that's a good trick. The longer I look, the more shading and shadows I see, so I keep adding and layering. It's quite meditative. There's a drop shadow too, not too sharp, but it is there. I can see part of it through the glass too, so I'm adding it to give the jar context instead of letting it float on the page. I think a few hints are enough. If you draw every detail, the glass becomes heavy instead of, well, transparent. I'll frame this drawing to make it look a bit more contained on the page. Adding just a few more darks and then I think this is done. But I'm not done yet. I want to keep experimenting. I'm curious. I'm using another pencil, a Derwent Inktense water-soluble pencil. As I said, curiosity is such a powerful thing. It pulls you in, helps you look closer and keeps things fun. I'm outlining the shapes again, just like I did previously. This time I have even outlined the reflection of the light in the jar to remind myself that part is important to keep white. When you follow your curiosity, it can push you to try different things. You don't need to know the answer before you start. Even though I've drawn the jar just now, I still don't know exactly how to convey transparency either, and if I'm doing it right, so to say. I get to find out by trying, by making marks, testing things and noticing what happens. That's also why I'm drawing the same subject twice today, each time with a different tool. It's such a simple way to learn. Different materials help you to see new things. One tool might help you focus on shape, another might highlight light and shadow or texture, color. You notice what stays the same and what changes. And with every version, your understanding grows. I didn't do much differently so far with this second drawing, exploring the shapes and outlining them. Now also adding some darker bits and shadows. When you treat your sketchbook like a place to explore rather than create masterpiece after masterpiece, you'll feel way less pressure. It's not about perfect pages. Follow your curiosity, one small question at a time, one creative problem to solve with each question. And that's where real growth happens. So next time something catches your eye and you think, I wonder. Sure, you could ask others for their answers, but isn't it way more fun to get your sketchbook and explore? Try it once, then try it again with another tool. See what you discover then. Even though I'm not done drawing yet, I'm going to give you an assignment in case you'd like a challenge this week. Pick a small transparent object at home. A jar, a glass, a bottle, anything. Draw it twice on the same sketchbook spread. First drawing, use one dry tool you like. A pencil, a ballpoint, a marker, whatever feels easy. Focus on the big shapes of light and shadow and keep it loose. And for the second drawing, switch to a different tool. It can be softer, darker, wetter, colorful, or more texture, whatever. Notice what this tool makes you see differently. I've got some tips too. Look for distortions in the glass. Leave a few white highlights untouched to show reflected light. Add just enough darks to suggest depth and shadow. And also, this is not about perfection. Embrace the wonkiness. Stay curious and then compare both versions when you're done. Ask yourself, what did I learn? Now I'm ready to make use of my tool variety and dilute some of the marks I made. I create a wash by touching some of the lines gently so it doesn't get too dark too quick. You can always add more darks, but taking it away isn't that easy, if possible at all. I like how using the Inktense pencil added another layer of possibility. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I know I'm having fun doing it. I keep looking at my subject to see the different varieties of darks and the contrasting lighter parts. I guess my answer to the question, how do you draw transparency is, well, drawing transparency isn't about knowing a trick. It's about slowing down, really looking, and translating what you see into simple shapes of light and shadow. You will notice reflections distort things, how highlights can be shown by leaving the white of the paper to do its work, and how you don't need to be afraid to carefully use darks to make the glass feel real. I added another layer of dark marks here and there, creating more contrast and depth. I'm actually not too happy about the outline around that highlight, the reflection of the light, but I also know from experience that I now see that as a fail, but when I look at the drawing tomorrow, I will probably hardly notice. I will see the whole instead of the bits and pieces that I've been focusing on. I guess I will need to practice more, because just 2 drawings won't give the answer of how to draw this. But you know, progress often hides in the small things. Noticing more shadows as you look longer. Seeing how a drop shadow helps the object sit on the page. Realizing that tomorrow you will see the drawing as a whole and not the tiny mistake you were fixating on today. I hope you will try this too and have fun with it. I hope you enjoyed experimenting with me. Let's draw together next week. I'll see you then. Bye!